the title of my thesis was Realising the Potential for the Protected Housing Stock of Dublin 7. And the context of my initial interest, I suppose, comes from my 84-year-old granny lives above a shop. She lives in a protected structure. It was built in 1854 on the top of Upper Dominic Street. So it's facing onto where the Grange Gorman campus is currently being constructed. And so I can see I suppose the difficulties that she faces every day living in a house where, as she's progressively getting older, life and living there is just becoming more and more difficult. It was built, as I said, in 1854, so it was built pre-regs, obviously. So heating, wet services, like a low baluster. It's 3 stories of her basement, so for her to run downstairs or go upstairs to her bed, it's a big ordeal. So she usually just lives on the middle floor, where in the winter we have to tape up the doors because there's such a draft, and there's the fireplaces are protected. So there's no we've kind of considered what we might do to insulate them a bit better, but doing any works in a protected house, in an old house, it costs a lot of money. And so basically that was a really strong interest for me when I was going into my thesis year. And also, I completely 100% agree with protection laws, because they're protecting these structures against people like my granny, who, when she first, like in the 70s, when she first moved in, she pulled out the windows because they were drafty and put in PVC windows. And then a week later, she gets a letter to say that, oh, this is actually protected, you can't do that. So someone obviously walked along and saw these beautiful sash windows in the skip, but people don't realise, so parts of the house are impractical, but they're incredibly adaptable houses, these Georgian houses. So we need to work with them rather than preserve them through protection. And so basically, in my thesis I wanted to look at making them more of a home and how they could adapt towards the needs of our current living standards. So they're at the moment, they're monuments. Well, this is my provocative approach, was that they're monuments to the past and they're unable to adapt. And so, as you said, Isola, the Living City initiative was, I think it had been released maybe just as I was going into my, coming up with my thesis. So I was kind of maybe questioning that, and could the government maybe go a bit further and, I don't know, make sanctions for allowing people to maybe bring in a type of architecture that maybe was exempt from planning, but would allow for people to live, like, wet services are such an issue, getting wet services into these houses, and the management of that. So how maybe it could be a reversible architecture that it could be a piece of furniture that it would be a kitchen, bathroom, etc., and it would close off rooms and open up rooms and make single floors apartments, so that as you said, above shops, each floor is actually a really generous and luxurious apartment, so people would want to live in them rather than making them difficult to live in. So I suppose this is an image from North Frederick Street, and below it then is a quote from Richard Sennett, which I kind of carried with me throughout my thesis. It's from The Open City, and I was taken with this idea of bureaucratic regulations disabling local innovation and growth and freezing the city in time. So, as I said, they are becoming monuments to when they were built, and it's through their use is what is going to preserve them. So that was trying to make them more usable. So Dublin 7 then is it's very bright. Dublin 7 is that's not going to do anything. Sorry, is just skirts along the Red Lewis line, there. So for those of you that might know Dublin very well, it's next to Dublin 1, which is inner city, and then this is, I suppose, inner city, and then you get to the suburbs, part of the north side of Dublin. This is a look at the DIT campuses that are going to amalgamate in 2020 and move to Grange Gorman, which is at the top of the border there. This in 2020 is going to put a lot of pressure on the existing context of Dublin 7, which Grange Gorman is located in, because I think it's 24,000 students and staff and lecturers will be moving into, well, maybe not moving into the area, but I think the National Transport Agency has quoted that 14% of that population will be using the green cross city Lewis line, which you can see dotted there. So there will be, I estimated 20% of the 24,000 going to be looking for housing within walking distance maybe from the campus. So looking at that then, these were studies I kind of developed. This is a 20-minute walking distance to Grange Gorman campus. And within that, then in the second circle, it kind of just depicts the protected structures or the structures that are within areas of conservation. And this is basically, there's like, within this circumference here, it's 544 protected structures, and 46 of these lie partially vacant or derelict. And then in this circle then represents a 10-minute walking distance from the Grange Gorman campus, which is the dotted. And within that then you have 169 protected structures and 1,900 houses that are within areas of conservation. So protected structure basically it's something that's been listed by the government or agency that is of interest, and it requires planning permission for almost all works within it, whereas some houses would be, there's works that you can do that are exempt from planning, but not for protected structure. So any works you want to do to a protected structure takes a bit more time and is a little bit more costly because you require planning application. But then houses that are within areas of conservation are, the streetscape is what's important, and anything behind the facade then isn't protected. So it's, you have exemptions. But so as long as the streetscape is maintained and protected, anything behind that kind of goes, and that's something that I tried to explore later on. So this is the context of the 10-minute walking distance. So you can see here that that's the new Lewis line going in, and this is the Grange Gorman campus. And if you look really hard, there's numbers there that are I've identified as the typologies that of houses that are either protected or within areas of conservation. So 1 to 3 is are structures that are within areas of conservation, and then from 4 to 11 then they're all protected. So I was trying to document these and figure out how I might explore my intervention to make them more livable. So this is just looking at them again. So the houses that are within areas of conservation were built mostly 1900 to 1910, and then the older, larger houses that are protected would be from 1850 onwards. So I don't want to dwell too much on this, but this is a morphological diagram that I've put together, which helped me kind of understand the demographic that we're living within each of the different types of houses. So it's quite interesting if you note, unfortunately that's a bit foggy, but if you note here, this is the central heating, that as the houses get larger and older, the percentage of the central heating actually goes down, and the occupancy rating here, for for renting goes up. So it just shows you that the people that are actually owner-occupiers living in these houses, which are smaller, put money into their central heating and creating them and making them livable. And so the renting is down because they're living in them, they're actually owners. Whereas as we go on, as in these are all the smaller, and then as we go on and they're to the bigger structures, this is a house on North Circular Road, and you can see that the renting is gone up to 94%, and the central heating has gone down to 33%. So the people, when the landlords obviously aren't putting money into these things, they're not very comfortable to live in. Why do people want to live in them? Then they become derelict and vacant. I don't know, that was something that I was kind of interested in at the time. And so this is a house on North Circular Road. This is actually my granny's house, comes to the pub. It's just opposite Grange Gorman there. These are all the protected houses, and this is also on North Circular Road. These are along Manor Street, so if you know Stony Batter, they're the houses that face onto the road. The same with that. Then they're on Constitution Hill, then just behind, or just in front of the new Lewis stop. Then I actually pushed my boundary then. I made this exception for this one particular typology because it's a 4-story over basement, I think, and it's protected. But this is the house that I showed you at the beginning, which is on North Frederick Street, and they're beautiful houses, but they're incredibly difficult to live in because from the beginning they were just too big almost, and I carried out a series of interviews, and I interviewed this man who is involved in the renovations of protected structures, Peter Clark, and he was saying that how nearly almost from their beginning they were subdivided because straight away they just couldn't live in them and heat them, they were just impossible. So I identified 3 houses that I wanted to carry out or further my study with. So there's a house on the North Circular Road, one of the houses that is within an area of conservation in Arbour Hill, and then one of the houses on North Frederick Street. So these are the houses here that I carried out my studies on, and so the house in Arbour Hill, it's interesting because it's quite, the scale and mass of it is really interesting, and it's quite a dynamic little structure. And then as you get onto the bigger one then on the North Circular Road, it was subdivided to 15 bedsit situation, and it was extensively subdivided pre-planning and development act, so it was done without any permission, and the original floor plan of the traditional 2 fireplace and spine wall and then the stair core at the back, that is almost completely lost. So I wasn't being sympathetic towards that anymore, and it allowed me to be a bit freer with my design. Then the third house there again, North Frederick Street. So yeah, just looking closer, this is it, the house within its context in Arbour Hill. So as long as I kept the streetscape maintained, anything that happened behind it was kind of up for the taking. And there's 900 of these types of houses within Arbour Hill, and they're all within a 10-minute walking radius of the Grange Gorman campus. So they represent, I suppose, the construction. So as long, as I said, as long as I kept the streetscape intact, I could do anything at the back. So I excavated and I pushed up and pushed always to try and make them, a nice home to live in, because maybe some of you already know these houses. They're very small and quite dark. So then moving on to the second typology that I was looking at was North Frederick Street. North Circular Road, sorry. It was built in the 19th century, and there's 15 bedsits in it currently. And so as I said, this particular house was subdivided from its construction So this is the original house, and so by keeping the communal stair core and pushing out on the return and stepping out into the yard, I ended up knocking what was actually was built, and it was an absolute mess. So I tried to kind of use the same scale in 2 times over and provide for communal services like a garden or a library, or in this case these are just apartments, but just a bit more generous and a bit more thoughtful. And as I said, I didn't have to be as sympathetic with this particular house because although it's protected, it had already been subdivided, and the elements within it actually weren't really protected individually. It was more so just the structure of it. Then this is the final house on North Frederick Street. It was built in 1795, so incredibly ornate, and it's apartments at the moment. You can see it's not suitable for elderly people, it's just not at all. It's 86% renting, 44% central heating, so it is very difficult to provide services for these houses, which makes them difficult to live in. So I was, to inform my intervention, I suppose, I was looking at the protected elements. So we've got the windows with their shutters, and a really interesting fact about these houses is that so they're single pane glasses, but when the U values that are lost during the day are actually made up for it in the evening when you close the shutters and you pull over these huge curtains, that actually is less energy lost than a house that is maybe double glazed and just uses blinds. So within those 24 hours, you save more energy in these houses. They're incredibly, they're so thoughtful. So these are the protected fireplaces that I found. Then the other protective elements like the cornicing, and then trying to look at the windows. That how might that inform like the mechanisms of the intervention. So the folding and the privacy that's provided and the warmth, but then being able to shut away and create almost a wall of timber, folding timber. So this is looking at the intervention then. It was trying to make an apartment out of a single floor. And so each floor then would require a bathroom, a kitchen, and just different facilities. So is basically trying to fit your services, your wet services within the joist, the original joist, without harming the cornicing or anything. And so that in the future, if someone decides to occupy this house for a single family, that these interventions would actually be reversible. And so it was really sympathetic architecture intended as. And then this is the original house, and looking at that as an entire apartment. And then this is the intervention in between, kind of wraps around the spine wall. And so the kitchen is here, and then you've got your bathroom and your wash facilities. And then this is your communal stairs, and this is where you meet and you go out then on the return. And this is where you have your shared, so you have your washing facilities for everybody in the apartment or in the house. You have your library, you have a study. Because these are quite generous and large apartments, I didn't want to cramp them by, providing the things that actually could be maybe shared. So it encourages people to live communally. And then, so that's just looking at it in section. So you have the library, a shared garden, a cinema room, and bike store, and your washing facilities. So that's the...